Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of Talking Sports. I'm one of your hosts, Andrew Volkman, and this is my co-host.
Miles Shield, hope you guys are having a good summer.
Yeah, I am Miles. Thank you for asking too on that. So, anyways, we haven't been posting in a little bit. It's been a little while. We took some time off for Fourth of July, and all of a sudden, things got busy for both of us. So lucky that we're able to take some time out of this Saturday to get some stuff done here today. But this is probably going to be the last NBA show for a little bit because NBA free agency just wrapped up. NBA summer league is going on. Training camp's going to start up soon. But the NFL, that's something that we're going to have to talk about soon. And the MLB is on the push to the postseason. We'll see what trades go down in the MLB. So before we get on to that stuff, though, we have the World Cup to talk about and some NBA free agency and off-season news to wrap up on before we get any closer to the start of the NFL and the MLB postseason. So starting off here with the World Cup, the third place and the finals matchup have been determined. England and France will be playing in Miami later today as part of the third place matchup, and then Argentina, led by Lionel Messi, will be taking on Spain tomorrow in New York. I don't know if Miles, I don't know if you watched the Argentina versus England game on Thursday, I believe, but that game was, it wasn't Thursday, it was Tuesday. That game was absolutely electric as it came down to the wire. Messi absolutely taking over in the end there. I don't know if you watched that.
Yeah, it was incredible to watch, and I think there's no denying that he is the greatest soccer player of all time. And the one pass he had that got headed in for what was the game-winning goal was absolutely perfectly placed. So I'm definitely rooting for Argentina and Messi to go out on a high.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I saw somewhere that Argentina, they're if they win the tomorrow's game against Spain, that will be their fourth consecutive major tournament victory. Uh, yeah, because they've won last World Cup in 2023. I think they won the Copa America tournament, and then I believe they won a Central and South American tournament as well. So the Argentina national team has been absolutely on a roll in the last three tournaments, looking to go four in a row in the major tournaments. So we'll see if Argentina can get that done. And extreme heartbreak for England as well because they put up a good fight. They were in control of the game all the way up until the 85th minute, and unfortunately it all fell apart at the end there. So tough break for England and France as well. They played really really well. But yeah, any other thoughts on the World Cup before we move on?
No, I think you got it all.
All right, perfect. Now let's move on to some NBA trades. And yeah, Miles, you and I were very upset about these trades, because um, we talked about these trades both, or these two players that could be traded in our last mini-sode. They were both Jalen Brown and Kawhi Leonard. And what do you know? Less than 24 hours later, I believe, Jalen Brown was traded, and then not too far later, Kawhi Leonard was traded as well. I think it was maybe like a week later, but still, we talked about these trades right before they happened, so that makes me a little upset. But at the same time, I mean, we were kind of predicting these, so if you know what I mean, I feel a little proud of myself there. But anyways, starting with the Jalen Brown trade, the Boston Celtics sent Jalen Brown, former NBA Finals MVP, to the Philadelphia 76ers in return for nine-time All-Star Paul George, 2028 and 2031 unprotected first-round picks, and then two second-round picks in 2028 and 2030. So yeah, very interesting trade on both sides. Miles, what do you make of this?
I think they were desperate to get rid of him. I think they burned the bridge to try to get Giannis, and it wasn't a good move. Obviously, I don't know. There had to be a million other offers that were better than Paul George going to your team, and then those picks, when they're late first round picks, are really not going to mean anything. They're not going to be game changers. It's hard to see because I think that trade has marked, in my opinion, this is a bold take, the beginning of the end of the Jason Tatum Celtics era. Now, this could be 2 to 3 more years, but I'm just saying I think that it's going to hit the fan, and I think the Celtics are going to go through a whirlwind. Now, Brad Stevens has proved us all wrong many, many times. He's made so many different moves that have worked out. So we'll see. And I think it's undeniable that healthy Paul George will help the Celtics team, but Paul George can't stay healthy. So we'll see what happens.
Definitely, and those picks are right in the middle of the rest of Jaylen Brown's contract with the Philadelphia 76ers, especially that 2028 first round pick. So, not going to be very valuable to the Philadelphia or to the Boston Celtics anytime soon. But for the Philadelphia 76ers, this is an absolute win of a trade. You get off of Paul George's abysmal contract and bring in a guy that is miles better. And it was crazy when I saw this, or heard this at least, that somebody was listing Jaylen Brown as the seventh best player on the Celtics.
Huh.
Like, I don't know if you heard that, but I heard that, and that was just mind boggling that somebody in the Celtics organization or somebody in the NBA community had Jaylen Brown ranked so low. Because I don't like Jaylen Brown. I really don't. I don't think he's better than. I mean, he's definitely a top 10 player, at least in my opinion, or at least on the fringes of being in the top 10. He's very, very good. But seventh best player on the Celtics? No.
Listen, I saw the Celtics came out and said that they felt Derek White had a better season than Jaylen Brown, which just isn't true. I think they decided to go with Derek White over Jaylen Brown, which I think is ridiculous. And yeah, I don't think Jaylen Brown is someone you build your franchise around, but he was a great number 2 option on that Celtics team. And now you put him on the 76ers, or the numbers of who is the starter, who or not starter, who is like the star of the team, it's kind of mixed, right? I think, in my opinion, I think Joel Embiid has handed it over to Tyrese Maxey. But now think about it. You have Maxey, you have VJ Edgecombe, you have Jaylen Brown, you have Joel Embiid. All you're missing is that power forward. And I think that LeBron could be a great fit for that 76ers team. And I think they right now are one of the favorites to win the NBA Finals.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, this Jaylen Brown trade makes them better because Jaylen Brown is actively a upgrade over, what is he, 35-year-old Paul George. So definitely a much better trade. But I don't think, when we talked about this next trade, we talked about both of them. I'm not sure which one is worse because they're both very very divisive and very intriguing in their own right. The next trade, the Kawhi Leonard trade. Toronto Raptors are receiving Kawhi Leonard from the LA Clippers, but Toronto is sending Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, 2031 and 2033 unprotected first round picks, a pick swap for 2027, so next draft, and then second round picks in 2030 and 2033. Very interesting trade. And Miles, we talked about this right after it went down. What's your take on this?
Well, I'm going to say right now, this is probably one of the craziest off seasons we have ever seen in NBA history.
Absolutely.
And I think it's completely changed the market because we are seeing people like Giannis aren't going for an insane amount, right? But then we're seeing Paul George be a huge factor to get a guy who was top 5 in scoring last year. None of these trades are really making sense. And this is one of those times where this offseason, you could see who the clear winners are and you could see who the clear losers are. To me, this seems more like a sentimental piece than a piece that's really going to propel you forward. Yes, the Raptors did good. And yes, Kawhi Leonard is without a doubt better than Grady Dick and Brandon Ingram. But you're giving up picks, which is interesting because Kawhi's going to be there for what, a year, 2 years? Those will be semi-good years. So I think I'm not sure if this is – well, actually I am sure. This is a for sure win-now move from the Raptors. The Clippers just keep getting younger and they keep getting better, which is something we didn't see starting at the beginning of the year. When they had James Leonard – oh my gosh, Andrew, it's been too long. James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Bradley Beal, Brooke Lopez. This was a team that was so old. It just wasn't. Look, Zubac was their center. He was like 30. So I'm just saying, this looks rough in the beginning for the Clippers. Now, I think they're looking great. They got guys like Benedict Mathurin, Darius Garland, Grady Dick, Brandon Ingram, who I think they will flip eventually, probably at the trade deadline, for more young talent and picks. I think it's a great move by the Clippers. Obviously, this trade has not gone through because of the ongoing investigations to the huge scam that Aspirin was, or whatever the company's called. So hopefully it goes through. I bet Toronto fans are hyped for this because he brought them their finals win, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, me too. And yeah, I seen like I saw like this one take on this entire like trade not going through. Like the Raptors put it on hold. It's just a publicity stunt by the NBA to bring more attention to them. Like it's nothing more than that. And I don't know if I exactly buy that because we're seeing the exact same thing in Milwaukee with Gary Trent Jr. and his contract. The NBA are investigating the Bucks for cap circumvention, and this is exactly what the NBA is investigating Kawhi Leonard and the LA Clippers for. So we'll have to wait and see. The Raptors don't want to deal with the consequences of if Kawhi Leonard is found guilty and they void his contract. The Raptors don't want to go through that just to have a guy not be on the roster. Meanwhile, they gave up two very solid players in Ingram and Dick and give up 3 first-round picks. They don't want to do that, so definitely going to be very interesting to see what the investigation rules. Also, I'm hoping the NBA doesn't completely screw the Bucks with this Gary Trent Jr. Contract because, I mean, quick side note, that contract is absolutely abysmal by the Bucks to give that to Gary Trent Jr. coming off his worst season. I don't know what you think about that though, Miles.
Oh gosh, it's so bad. And actually, I was learning about it. And for those of you at home who don't know, what the league is investigating is the fact that this contract is so awful that a red flag popped up. So what the theory is that the Bucks, was it 2 years ago, when Gary Trent Jr. was a free agent from the Toronto Raptors, said, hey, listen, right now we think that you're the piece we're missing to win a championship, but we can't pay you because we don't have any money. So we'll give you this minimum contract, but then once you become a free agent again and we have more money, we will give you this contract. So really what they did was swap the contracts that he would have got. So when he first signed, he would have got this $64 million contract. But since we didn't have money, we had to void it and send it over to now, which is illegal and you cannot do in NBA rules. And from what it sounds like, a punishment would be a taking of a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying. Really. And I'm nervous because we don't have a ton of picks to give. Yeah. And if a pick gets taken, I'm not sure what's going to happen. And the sad thing is it's for Gary Trent Jr., who's just awful. It was a terrible move from John Horst. And honestly, if this comes out, I very well would like to see John Horst fired because it was a terrible move to begin with. And I just can't. It makes me mad. It makes me very, very mad that stupid decision is coming back to bite us in the butt.
Yeah, and I bet if the investigation is ruled, and the Bucks are guilty of that, Horst would be suspended for a year. He because the NBA can't suspend high level executives in the organization for a year, and as well void Gary Trent Jr.'s contract, making him a free agent, and fine the Bucks up to I think like $7 million. I think. It's a lot of money the Bucks can be fined for, and it's the exact same thing the Raptors are facing as well, and the Clippers too, when this scandal first came out for both sides. So, ongoing investigations and will be absolutely detrimental to either side of either organization in this case. But let's go ahead and move on now to the final little part of this episode. Major free agent signings went down while we were away. Specifically, the Los Angeles Lakers. I want to touch on them first because they told LeBron James a little while ago, hey, we're not going to re-sign you. We're probably just going to move on without you. So that's a lot of money off their books for next season. And we already saw them bring in Walker Kessler, but they also made some more moves. They signed Austin Reeves to a new 4-year contract extension, and then they signed a plethora of guards with Quentin Grimes and Colin Sexton, and even brought in Zaire Williams on a contract as well. And then they also brought in Sandro Mamukelashvili on a 4-year deal. So the Lakers have been making moves. Miles, I think we were actually at we were at like the Brewers game, like on the first, and we were seeing all this stuff go down, like the Paul George trade, not the Jalen Brown trade, and then we saw all these
All these.
Lakers signings. So, what's your take on the Lakers signing all these players?
It's definitely giving me Bucks vibes. Randomly overloading on guards, and Bucks are even worse. Like the Bucks, I don't even get me started. There's way too many guards, but I think I see somewhat of the vision. I think I could see Quentin Grimes playing small forward a little bit more. Colin Sexton coming off the bench is a possible six man. I think Sandro could possibly become the starting power forward or the backup center. So I think they've given themselves a lot of uh, flexibility. I think there's players who could play different positions, and I think all of them are good. I was hoping Colin Sexton would go get a starting job somewhere because I truly think he is one of the most underrated players in the league.
Agreed. Yeah.
And Grimes obviously has been proving himself, getting better every year. They got talented people. Sandro is a little bit of a head scratcher, giving him that kind of money. But you know what? I trust in the Lakers. I'm still not sure they have the team to do it. Obviously, trading away DeAndre Ayton and getting Jaden Hardy is the right move. You get another young, talented guard. I think they're in a good spot. I think the biggest question is going to be, did they overpay for Walker Kessler?
Yeah, definitely. So we'll have to wait and see on that front from the Lakers. Some other signs: the Celtics, after trading Jalen Brown, signed a couple of players. They signed Mitchell Robinson to a 3-year, $47.5 million contract. They signed Mike Conley, which is in my opinion, a really good get at guard. I really, really like Mike Conley, even though he's getting up there in age. He's still very, very solid, probably as a backup point guard. And then they extended Neemias Queta for 4 more years at $56 million, which is a really good contract to get Neemias Queta, who had a great season last year with the Boston Celtics, stepping up after when they needed a center. So that'll be some really good moves. The Miami Heat, to address losing Norman Powell in free agency. Norman Powell went to the Bulls, which sucks for us as Bucks fans, but we have to deal with it. The Miami Heat went out and signed Tim Hardaway Jr., the guy from the Denver Nuggets who had a really good season last year, was in the running for the Sixth Man of the Year with Jaime Jaquez, now of the Milwaukee Bucks, and Naz Reid as well. So good sharpshooting get for the Miami Heat as well. Giannis was also introduced as a Miami Heat yesterday. I don't know if you saw that, Miles, but that broke my heart a little bit to see Giannis being officially introduced as a member of the Miami Heat. And then as well, the Philadelphia 76ers, not done talking about them, to replace Quentin Grimes, they ended up getting Anthony Simons on a really good contract. And Miles, what's your take on that signing for the 76ers getting Anthony Simons?
I think Anthony Simons is very similar to Colin Sexton. I think he has all the tools to be a very, very talented starting guard in this league. And I do think that he was given offers to go start in other places, but this is a great move for him because he's going to a team that's so loaded, so like talented, and he will get time. He will get playing time. And so I think it's a good move for him. I think it's a great, ring chasing move to go get that championship. And I think he makes the team a whole lot better, which is pretty impressive because that team was already really good.
Absolutely. And you talk about so many other teams having a lot of guards. The 76ers have a lot of guards now, too, with Maxey, Edgecombe. They just drafted LeBaron Philon in the draft, and LeBaron Philon's not going to start anytime soon, which really is disappointing because LeBaron Philon's a really good point guard prospect. And then you bring in Anthony Simons as well to play probably the shooting guard. So I guess a lot of teams are just loading up on guards now for some reason because, man, oh man, are there some teams with just really crowded backcourt. So yeah, lots of interesting signings throughout the entire league. So yeah, I think that's all that we have to cover here. Miles, do you have anything else before we wrap it up?
No, I don't. I don't think so.
Alrighty. Who are you rooting for in the World Cup finals, Miles?
I'd probably say Messi in Argentina.
All right, I'm probably gonna go with you on that one. I was really disappointed when they were losing to England on Tuesday. That was a really disappointing. I thought, oh man, Argentina's not gonna be able to move on to the finals. It's gonna be over. All of a sudden, comes storming back. Man, was I really excited. So yeah, I know our friends down in Texas were really excited to see Messi and Argentina go on to the final round as well too. So really fun stuff in the World Cup. Sad it's coming to an end so quickly. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Talking Sports. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you really, really soon. And I'm Miles. Andrew?
Andrew, did you just say I'm Miles?
I think I did.
We are rusty, guys. Please forgive us.
Yeah. Sorry about that. All right, we'll try it one more time. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Miles.
And thank you for listening to this really wacky episode of Talking Sports. We'll see you next time.